What's up, YouTube? Today we have a video on an event that I got to go to, which was called Life Surge. Now, Life Surge was a Christian event, a Christian conference that talked about how to further God's kingdom financially. So it was really cool with getting to just hear about people's different perspectives on furthering God's kingdom and using finances to further it. So without further ado, let's review it. So during the event, I was able to take notes in here, and so we're going to read from my notes. So I went in with the goal of learning how to become financially stable and then ways to invest in both myself and other things. And to be honest, through the event, they didn't really teach me anything I didn't know at first. A lot of the event was learning how to invest in real estate and stocks, but that was mostly general and overview. So it didn't get in as much detail, but I'm going to go over by the speakers I got to see and what the biggest takeaways I had from it. And then at the end, I'll show some stuff that I got to have and some of our next steps going towards furthering God's kingdom in that way. So first, we had some people that I got there about an hour late because traffic was bad. So we had to wait like an hour in traffic. So we didn't get to see the first two brothers, but they were brothers. They were baseball players, and then now they do business. So we missed them, but they might have had a pretty cool interaction. But when we got there, I got to see Ed Mylett, and some of the biggest takeaways I had was pain is temporary, and the pain that we go through is for God's glory. So basically the idea of the pain now, whether it's pain with your siblings, pain physically, pain emotionally, whatever it is, it's growing you, and in the future you'll be able to use it. So kind of the analogy of when you lift weights, it hurts. And then once you go through that pain, your muscles will start to grow and you'll start to see the fruits, or you'll start to see the gains. So that was one of his biggest messages, that pain is temporary and that on the other side is where you'll really see fruits. Now, he also was talking about how the pain that you go through, it qualifies you to help other people through the same pain that you had. If you lose a really big football game and you play football and then you have a teammate or you have a brother or sister that loses a really big football game, you can help them through that because you went through it and you're the best person to help them through it. So that was really encouraging, that the pain that you go through is not for nothing and that you can use it to help others. She also went over how you should always take the lonely road or the road less traveled. There's going to be a crowded road, and he kind of used it as the analogy of that's the 9 to 5. You're going to work, going back, and it's crowded, everybody's there, but you want to take the road that has potholes. You want to take the road that is a little bit off-roading, because that's where you're really going to grow. And he kind of related that to the crowded road is staying in your comfort zone, and then the road less traveled is outside your comfort zone. He also went over 4 obstacles that the devil uses. So we had 4 Ds. So one was discouragement, then we had doubt, delusion, and delay. So he was really going hard into delay. Like, don't delay. You don't know when your last time on earth is. So really, don't delay. Don't wait. All right. Then the next speaker was Steve Champa. Now, Steve Champa was the investment guy. He was talking about stocks and all that. So he was really saying there's 4 big things to understand. So one is you want to learn if a company is financially healthy. 2, you want to buy the company at a discount. 3, you want to learn if the principals love their company. So if the people who started it love their company. 4 is you want to be able to time the market. Now, 4, I feel like you can't really time the market, so I don't know how applicable that is. But he was saying he made a software that tells you when to buy and when to sell, so then you can make the most amount possible. I really liked his idea of, he was talking about how Warren Buffett buys at a margin and the predicted price, and he buys at half. So I really like that idea. And I'm not more of a short-term stocks person, but I think long term will be kind of where I'm at with that. We also had Priscilla Shire, and she was really good for a little bit of motivation. She was really talking about how when you start something, you should think about the finish in mind. How if you don't think about, oh, I want to glorify God in this, or oh, I want to be at this point, this is where I want to grow to, then you're not going to try your hardest every day and you're not going to be able to get there because you don't have that goal in mind. She also went over how you should keep the main thing, and how God should be number one and everything else should just be a byproduct of that. So whether is that financial success, that should be a byproduct of following after God. Is that helping other people, that should be a byproduct of following after God. Now, we also got to see Joe, and he started Life Surge. He was talking about there's three main things that go into Life Surge, and that's pursue God and his kingdom, gain knowledge, and then take action on that knowledge. So today was kind of gaining knowledge, and then we're going to be taking action on it. We got Jeff Rutkowski, and he was talking about real estate, and so he really intrigued me. There was also another guy who talked about real estate, and he was just one of the sponsors, but I was talking with him, and he was talking about bird dog and wholesale real estate, and so I might want to get into that and just see, oh, let me kind of dip my toes in the water for real estate and learn all about that. So I think that'll be my next action step from this conference, is doing wholesale and bird dog real estate and just kind of looking at that. He talked about active income versus passive income, and basically that real estate, he was saying there's 27 million millionaires and 74% of them are made from real estate. It's kind of cool. And that he had another software that helped you be able to see which ones you'd be able to make money off of and which ones and what you should do with that real estate. And then he kind of gave a brief overview of financing and refinancing and all that. I would love to dive deeper into that. That really intrigued me. Then we had Willie Robertson, and Willie Robertson was, I learned, on Duck Dynasty, so he was cool. He was just a brief little interaction. He was just talking about how he's been doing business his whole life. He started in elementary school. He would sell worms, and then he started selling candy and all this stuff. My biggest takeaways from him were you want to learn where people exceed, and then you want to put them there in order to have the best outcomes. He was talking about how his uncle just laid on his couch and was a horrible business partner, but then in Duck Dynasty, he was phenomenal and really excelled at that position. Then Willie also talks about learning from others and how important that is to learn from someone who's already been there, which I agree with, and that's somewhere I'm going to have to grow in. Then we had Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank. He was really cool. He was more there to have an inspiration, and he really talked about making money with goals. And so we got to hear kind of his testimony from, he was talking about how he got saved in 2014, and that was really cool because he was talking about how you want to have the time to have time to yourself, family, friends, and all that. Then he was talking about just how cool people are, and he was talking about how you'll never find something as interesting as another human being. There's nothing more complex than another person. And that's crazy to think about, that we're surrounded by people every day and you don't know the person's story. And I know you hear it a lot, but to actually ask and be curious, you learn so much about a person, and you will never be dry like trying to figure out something from someone because they have a whole life to talk about. Then we had James Smith, and he came in hot. He was really going after the urgency that we have. And he started talking about, hey, where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? What do you want to look like? Where do you want your life to be? Don't go and just be like, oh man, life was worthless. But he was like, really get some meaning behind it and really go after it. Then we had Tim Tebow. He was a fan favorite, of course. Tim Tebow shared a lot of testimonies, which was really cool. And there was some cool miracles that were happening that he shared. But one of the biggest things I got from him is his dad went to a boy in the Philippines, and then the boy was homeless, but the boy was scared, so he ran away from his dad, even though his dad was trying to help him. And he related that to how we run from God, and God is always trying to help us. So that was cool. And then he just said we should say yes to God every time. And he shared a story that Dr. Thomas said yes, and then he saw the fruit years and years after. And basically, he was preaching in the rain with nobody there, or so he thought. And then years after, he was let known that one person did hear what he said. And then we got to see Crowder at the very end and just worship with him. That was really cool. I had some stuff I got from Life Surge, and so this was really cool. We got Ghost Speller, which was made by Willie Robertson and the Duck Dynasty, from the Duck Dynasty, Willie Robertson. And this was really cool because my buddy DJ Mike gave it to me, and we led a small group together, but it's signed by Willie Robertson, so that's really cool. So I'm gonna get to give this a read, which was something I was just not expecting. And then also they had a program where you can dive deeper for 6 days into the stocks and the real estate, and basically that was $100. And then we got this booklet, and it was just saying leaving a legacy. So there's all these pages, which is really cool, and so that'll be practical steps. And then this is the impact classes. So that's what they call it, the impact classes. And that's going to be our next steps. My dad and I are going to be going to that. I'm excited to learn about a bunch of new things and really just dive deeper into the concepts that we learned today. But yeah, all in all, I'd say it was very encouraging just to hear people talk about finances kind of from that more Christian perspective. It did sound like obviously everybody there wanted to be wealthy, so I don't think it's as easy as they made it sound, but I do think that they gave a lot of encouragement, and that was really cool, and a lot of practical steps. So all in all, I think this was a great conference, and I got to do it with my dad, so how could it be even better? Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.